we were going to talk about your passion too. I think Pops is on there. What's up, Pops?
Yeah, he's waiting. As soon as we're done this, I got to go do his taxes for him. So,
Okay.
I'll be leaving to go.
That's why he's watching. Hurry up, son.
He's like, I thought your ass was coming over here to do my. Yes, I will be over there shortly, whenever we're done. So yeah, my passion is sharks.
I like Jaws.
I love sharks. Somewhere around here, I have I forget what it's called. It's a orca, some bracelet for shark conservation. One of the most misunderstood animals on the planet. Sharks, converse to what most people think, do not target humans. They just don't. It's just not in their nature. Most great white shark bites are investigatory bites, where you look like something that may be food. You're moving. You're setting off. So whenever you're swimming, it sends out electrical signals to sharks, and they have these things called ampelline of thorazine or some weird name, and they're basically, if you look at a shark really close, there's all these little tiny little holes on their face, and it gets electrical impulses. That's how they know a fish is in trouble, a seal, a wounded seal, wounded animal, anything. They get electrical impulses, so they go. And most shark bites, great white sharks, are investigatory bites. Bull sharks and tiger sharks will target humans, just because they eat everything in the ocean. They just eat everything. Those are the sharks that you'll find license plates in their mouth, in their stomach. They'll just eat anything. Bull sharks get their name from their rounded front, and they will hit you really hard, and that's how they get the name bull, because they hit you really hard to stun you. That's how they hunt. And then obviously they feed. Tiger sharks are fairly big. They get pretty big. 15, 16 feet sometimes. And not necessarily, they won't necessarily target you, but if they're hungry, they'll eat you. Whereas a great white shark is not going to eat you if they're hungry. A lot of times they find the great white sharks spit out human when they eat it. They just literally don't like the taste.
Chew you up and spit you out.
Basically. So, yeah, it's always been my passion. I think I started watching Sharkmen, and it had another name at one point, but it's basically researchers on this huge ship.
Hey, what's going on, bro?
The O-Search. And what they do on the O-Search is they send out a little boat. Well, they put in lines of... put lines out with pieces, big, huge chunks of tuna on it. They catch a shark. And then what they do is they take the line out with a smaller boat, and they literally hand wrangle a shark. They attach floaters to keep the shark up to the surface. And they get as many on there so that they get them up there. They tire the shark out so that the shark's easier to manage, and they bring them around to a lift. And what they do is, once the shark is on the lift, they lift the shark up out of the water. And it's just like a team. They all go in. There's one guy that puts a towel over the shark's eyes to keep him docile. They lift up his snout and put water, so water is continuously fed through its gills, because obviously a shark will die if water, like sharks don't generally stop. They can't stop moving or they die. There are a couple species of sharks that can do that, but great white sharks, tiger sharks, like basically the ones you see in movies or whatever, they're not the ones.
It's funny you made that point, because I saw a video, a TikTok video nonetheless, where this guy caught a shark and it came on a boat, and that thing just, it went crazy. It wouldn't, stop moving. But the people were scared to death after it got on. They ran to the other side of the...
So it's kind of easy when you're working with a 17, 18-foot shark, right? It's just huge. So towel, they put water in its mouth to keep it alive, and then they put a tail rope around the back fin, so you're not able to whip because you get hit with that tail.
Yeah,
it's kind of a wrap.
Yeah, I imagine.
So then what they do, they're not just catching them to catch them. They their dorsal fin is that scary fin that comes out of the water on top. So what they do is they attach a 6-year tag, And what they do with that is it's a tag. They drill 2 holes in the dorsal fin, which doesn't hurt the shark. They put the thing in. They screw it on with bolts, and then they melt it off. And then they have somebody getting DNA from the shark. They have, whether it's a male or a female, the males they actually have 2 penises, and you can tell because at the back of the shark there's 2 things that go out, and they're actually called claspers.
So, if I self-identify as a shark, will I have 2 penises?
You would have claspers, baby. You could have claspers. I don't know if you have, but so they try to get they get a sample, whether it's male or female, they get a sample from their sexual organs. What else do they do? They get blood, DNA, the tracker, and then they get it in the water. And what they do, somebody has to take the hook out, obviously. And the hooks are huge, like probably about that big. But yeah, it's all done in a way that protects the shark and makes sure that the shark is safe. And they try to get the shark. They have a time limit. If they hit that time limit, we got to get the shark back in the water. That's what they do. Because the shark is a little bit stunned when it comes out of the water. There's literally a dude going down the lift into the ocean with the shark. So there's literally a dude standing next to this great white shark and kind of like pushes the shark out. And once they see the shark is swimming fine, they cheer like they just won the Super Bowl. It's like the most, like, that's the thing that made me want to do it. Like the passion of just when they see sharks, when they, they're chumming, throwing big chunks of tuna to get the sharks come, because they can smell something like up to 20 miles or something like that. Right. But just them cheering to see when they see the sharks, and then again when they catch the shark, it's like a party. And then when they get the shark on the lift, then it becomes business. And then they get the shark back in the water, and it's like a party afterwards. They always name the sharks. Speaking of Fast and Furious, Paul Walker did a bunch of shows with them where he was actually helping them do it. Okay. I think they named a shark after his daughter. Okay. I think they named Paul named one of the sharks after his mom. So it's really cool. And then even if you go on osearch.com, you can see where the sharks are going. And a lot of it's for research. They want to know when sharks, when they mate, where they're mating. Okay. They want to see where they're delivering the babies. They want to see where they go when they are. Basically, sharks disappear. So sharks appear at certain times of the year, and then they disappear. So one of the objectives of the research is to find out where these sharks are going when they disappear. So we know they feed down. They feed in the winter because they have sharks in like Guadalupe, Mexico, and
aren't there a lot of sharks in Honduras?
There's a lot of sharks in Africa.
Okay.
Actually, they have a place in Africa called Shark Alley because it's called the Ring of Death. Actually, because the seals, when they go out, they have to pass this ring. Wow. It's like a ring of death for seals. But mainly in the wintertime, they're down in warmer waters and they're feeding. And why they're feeding, and female sharks are always bigger than male sharks.
Oh, wow.
Female sharks are way bigger. So female sharks, what they found are they mate down in the warm waters during the winter, and they feed, and they have one big feed, and then they travel up north. So they're going up towards New England, all that stuff in the summertime. Right. And then they lay their babies. Same with the.
I don't mean to cut you off. My beautiful wife just logged on. She's watching it live. Hello, Christine.
So yeah, so they go up. Same with sharks on the west coast. They're down in Mexico. They go up to San Francisco ish, the Bay Area. They lay, or they give birth. They don't lay anything. They give birth to the pup sharks. And then they leave. The pup sharks stay up there, and they get a little bit bigger because obviously they're not going to be able to travel down. So July, August ish is when sharks start coming back down, and that's when you'll see shark attacks. Like, because they're going back down. They have this long. They're going down south. They obviously need food and fuel to get to Mexico, so they'll stop and they'll feed, and they're hungry. So, like all sharks, but Shark Week is. I'm not a big sports fan, but Shark Week is my.
That's it for you.
My Super Bowl week or whatever. So
yeah, here's a funny story, and I've told you this story, but I haven't told the people out there. I forget how old I was, but one of my good friends, Adam, it was me, his brother-in-law, his wife at the time, his sister. We went to Assateague Beach in Virginia. Mm-hmm. Okay, now
that's known for horses too. And
you know what? I'm not sure, but we probably should have left when we got there because I remember there were a lot of jellyfish, dead jellyfish, and I'm like, do we even want to get in this water? But of course, we went down there, and I remember earlier this fin had popped out. Mm-hmm. Now they claim later on it was a dolphin fin, but I don't know the difference because they said it was two of them, and sharks apparently don't swim together.
Not unless they're hunting. It's rare that they'll hunt together, but gotcha. Sharks will fight before they won't travel together.
Well, I don't know anything about it. You know what I mean? So I just saw the fin pop up. So we're sitting in there in the water, and I'm talking to Adam's sister, and all of a sudden she screams. Cam, I think I might be the fastest recorded man to run in the water and get out of the water as fast as I could. And when I got to the beach, I see Adam's sister coming up, and she's kind of laughing. She was like, Mark, what if I got bit by the shark? I said, there would have been nothing I could do for you. If they got a hold of you, they got a hold of you. All I can do at this point is pray. You in a little bit of trouble, and they never let me live it down till this day.
I mean, there's a lot you can do if you get attacked by a shark. Interestingly enough, there is, and they found shark repellent. So they have shark repellent. Shark repellent is made out. There's a sac inside of the sharks, and how I learned it is, I don't know if you ever saw. It's like Jaws versus killer whale or something like that. So killer whales will target sharks and eat sharks, but they only eat the liver. Like they'll killer whales hunt in packs, obviously. So and they're way bigger than even the biggest great white shark.
Right.
So they'll come at it from all angles and hit it as hard as they can with their nose and stun the shark. And what they'll do is they'll try to flip it over. So if a shark is turned upside down, it's a state called tonic immobility, and the shark is literally paralyzed essentially. If a shark is overturned, they cannot turn themselves back over. Okay. So if a shark is upside down, they're just paralyzed, and they'll drown because again they're not able to move, so they'll drown. So what the killer whales do is they'll tip the shark upside down.
I heard dolphins do that too. Like when they attack a shark, apparently they attack them in groups and they'll hit them with the nose.
They don't usually attack them. They'll do. Dolphins have been known to protect humans. They've been known to protect each other. Like if another dolphin, they're more protective than attacking because obviously dolphins aren't going to eat a shark. So once the shark is in a state of tonic immobility, the killer whales take their liver, and that's it. They literally just eat the liver and keep it moving. They just let the shark die. So they found, it was Jaws versus Orca. I think that was the name of it. So anyway, what they found is if a shark dies, all the other sharks in that area just disappear.
Oh, okay.
because there's some type of sac inside of a shark that once the sharks sense that or smell it or whatever it hits them, they just all disappear. So that's how they started making shark repellent out of whatever that sac on the inside of shark. And I don't know what it was, but yeah, that's what shark repellent is made out of.
Okay.
So it's an interesting shark fact. And I, like him, when we talked about this, I had a similar story. I went down to the beach here in Delaware and saw fins, and they weren't anywhere close to us, but still, I was like, hell with this. And it felt like I was running on top of the water. But I just remember being on the beach the next time. But you mentioned jellyfish, and I wanted to ask you this. Have you ever been stung by a jellyfish?
I have not, and I hope it never happens because I heard it's a terrible, terrible problem.
I have been stung by a jellyfish quite a few times.
Is the
It
story
hurts.
true though?
It stings.
Ammonia? Is that?
I didn't try that. I just know it stings.
Okay.
But the most dangerous thing in the ocean is a box jellyfish.
Yeah. That was if you've ever seen 7 Pounds, that
7
was
pounds,
the
that's what he
jellyfish
used.
he
Yeah.
had, yeah.
That is literally the most dangerous thing in the ocean. Not sharks, not electric eels, not anything. Box jellyfish. So yeah, jellyfish are. I don't know. You can go to the like the Baltimore Aquarium and you can touch jellyfish and all that, but I'm like, nah. And it's, you don't touch them if they're upside down, but nah, I'll pass on that.
I
don't like touching. I don't like touching fish. I don't like. I don't want to touch anything. It's not furry. I'm not touching.
I used to drive a bus some years ago, and they took the kids on a field trip to Adventure Aquarium, and when they got in there, they had the stingray, and the lady doing the tour guide or whatever was having the kids come over and touch the stingray.
Yeah, that's the same in.
I looked
they
at
have
it,
that
I was
in
like,
the
nah.
Baltimore Aquarium too, and I'm not touching the
No.
stingray because shit, that's what killed the crocodile hunter.
Right.
All the things this dude jumped and messed with, and it was a stingray. The barb went through his heart and killed him.
You meet one person that goes over and touch it, and something happens.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
I'm okay.
Barb go through my finger or hand or something.
I'm okay.
I'm too particular about my hands. But yeah, that's basically my passion, sharks.